This conference will now be recorded.
Guys, can you hear me okay? Hello? Guys, can you hear me okay? Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's get started. Okay, so yesterday, we have seen that how we can really run the commands, right? We have also seen that how to create the Docker and all those things. We will definitely see that as we move on from the from the implementation perspective in the CI/CD pipeline. But there are a few things which I want you to showcase before you really starting that, right? So let me bring that. If I have yesterday's discussion, no problem. I'll just go through one more time. So let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay. So what we are going to do here is that we are going to open a PowerShell command prompt which look like this one. So there is a, when you run with the PowerShell, there is a tool actually, or maybe if I open here, it's not opening. Yeah, let me say PowerShell, and then there is a PowerShell IEC actually, which is kind of like a very good tool to run PowerShell command. Now, why we are really opening this PowerShell command? Just to ensure that we are running our Azure CLI commands, so to create the environment or all the services which we have inside our Azure. Okay. So yesterday, if you remember, and this is how it will really look like a notepad and then the command prompt, right? This is the kind of like a easy way to really do it. Now, yesterday, if you remember, right, we have called out few of the steps saying that, okay, we want to really create something. We have created a virtual machine and then we have, created or maybe installed Docker on top of that. We have also tried to create the, your when I'm saying create the ACR before that one, and then create the web application and deploy everything, right? I think that's what we have really tried to do. Now, today we are going to see how we can really do it using the completely Azure CLI way. So we are not going to touch, but now onwards, say like in case if I want to really create any environment, anything in cloud, okay, we have seen enough way of doing it from the manual way, like using your portal, right? The way we go here, we open the portal, we go to virtual machine, we go to particular thing, we go to there, here, there, and that. We have seen enough of those things, but now I don't want to really run in that way. I want to really run it in a way that how can we really do it using the command line interface, because going forward we will be mostly using the command line interface, and we are also going to migrate to Terraform, because all our creation, all our provisioning, right? When we do this one, we generally say resource provisioning. This is the word is kind of like get used when you are really going with the implementation. I'll just increase this one so you can really see it in a better way. So resource provisioning, right? So resource provisioning is nothing but how you provision or how you create that resource inside the cloud computing. So the best way or the way we have seen so far is the Azure CLI, because yesterday also we have run Azure CLI, we installed that Azure CLI, and we were able to run some commands that how can we really interact with the portal. Now, Portal is just a UI, right? It's a very easy way to manage everything. But the problem with the portal is that, in case if you want to really, like the way I think there were a lot of things which you are saying that, how can we really get the practice thing, or can I get some document actually where I can follow that document, I can really be able to create everything that I can provide that, and I'll provide you that. That's not a problem at all. However, in case if I tell you that instead of a document, I will provide you few commands, and using that command, you will be able to provision the resources. That's it. And you just have to understand the commands, because going forward in your actual word, you will be following these commands rather than following the portal way. Okay, and you'll have to understand that and how things really work out here. So when I talk about this one, as I mentioned, you have a very good tool or a CLI which can really give you all the understanding. Now, whenever we say CLI, it's a command line interface, as I mentioned, CLI, command line interface, right? It's a command line interface. Now, this command line interface will allow you to really do everything whatever is possible, because eventually what is happening is you have this UI and then you have this CLI. Everything is internally connected with the APIs which are really connected. So it's just a way of how you interact with this API. If you are really comfortable, you can really go with CLI, and CLI is much faster. UI is very slow, but CLI is really very good and very fast. I'll show you that as we are going to move ahead. Okay. So now, when you really want to do the Azure CLI, first of all, on your laptop or in your system, whenever you really want to do, we have seen that from the Ubuntu, we can install that using just a command like sudo apt install and then Azure CLI. This is a command. In case if you just run this command, your application, your Ubuntu system will install this in your laptop. Oh, sorry, in your remote system, the virtual machine. But in case if you want to really run that or install this in your Windows system, right? Again, because Windows is a altogether different, so you need to download that one. So how can you download? You go to here, you just say Azure CLI download for Windows, right? It's already there. Windows. Okay, just click here. Now there is an official Microsoft documentation or the setup actually, where you just have to click on here and it will take you to the microsoft.com, learn.microsoft.com, and here it is automatically giving you all the options. You just have to scroll down and download this MSI, which is 64-bit. Nowadays everybody mostly runs the 64-bit laptops, so you can just run. In case if you have a 32-bit laptop, you can use this one, but if you have a 64-bit, just download this one. This will download the MSI file, and you just have to install that MSI. So say like in case if I click on this one, it will start downloading the MSI file. You can see here it started downloading, and this is kind of a MSI file. Now once this is get download, you can just click on this one and it will download automatically your Azure CLI. Now once you download this, Azure CLI will be available in your local system, so you can run it using a command line interface, or you can run it using the PSI one, right? PowerShell. Now why we are actually using PowerShell? Because PowerShell is also a scripting language, okay, which will allow you to really script things. Why a script? Because in the script there is a very important concept which is a variable. Okay? Now why is this variable? We will see that, but this is a kind of like a tool actually which will allow you to make your script more variable driven. So you do not have to repeat your code, or you do not have to do the exact same thing again and again. So you can reuse that thing. So your entire piece will be that kind of like shortened. Perfect. Now, how that really shorten? Let me tell you. First, we will just run it and then I'll show you. Okay. So this is installed. So once it is done, you just have to install this one. Once you install, definitely the Azure CLI will be up and running. After that, you have to open this Windows PowerShell ISE. Now, once we are open this Windows PowerShell ISE, in this one, here you can write a code and here you can run that code. As simple as that. Perfect. So say like in case if I run in case if I type something here, okay, write host. Say like in case if I say write host and I just say hello, welcome to Azure DevOps course. And if I just run this particular thing, right? And if I run this, there is a tiny button, actually green button. You just have to run this. If I run this, it is saying, hello, welcome to the Azure DevOps course. That means this is a programming language. This is also used for doing some programmings and everything. We are not really getting into a very programming driven thing. This is mostly a scripting language, right? You can automate a lot of things in case if you want to do it in the Windows sections. And PowerShell is very, very powerful, really powerful. Okay, so this is how you can really run. So whatever I have listed inside the write host, it ran. In case if I want to again write something, I just can really write something different, saying that okay, hello, my name is RK. Okay, and I'll just run both the things here. Now I'll just run, and I can see that it is running actually both the things. Hello, my name is RK, and then it is really running the whatever that I have actually run that. I can then I can make it variable driven also. Now how I can really make it variable driven? I can just make it something like a dollar name equal to RK, and I can just put it here, okay, where I have mentioned a dollar as a variable here. Now why variable, why to use variable, let me show you. So like in case if I copy this dollar and then paste it here, dollar name. Now let's see what is going to really run. So if I run this one, all these things, you can see it's taken up this RK variable as a name, and then when I ran it next time, it automatically take out the value of this variable and put it inside this one. Now, why I should really do this? In case if I now want to make a change, I don't want to make a change here. I can simply make a change here and I can really run that. So say like in case if I want to say Azure DevOps. Perfect. Now I run this one and I again run this particular thing. It can say that, this is automatically taken the Azure DevOps here. So this is a variable. So you can just update it one time and you can really, make it multiple times. Perfect. Now, let's do one thing. Let's clear out this thing. Let's focus on Azure CLI. Let's focus on how Azure CLI can be used and how we can really kind of like create resources inside the cloud, inside the Azure Azure cloud. Perfect. So for this one, there is a very good documentation also provided by Microsoft. That in case if you want to really create anything, you just have to say, I want to know Azure CLI, okay, for creating resource group, right? Now this is again a very simple and again very it is going for the again manage Azure resources by Azure CLI. There is a documentation provided by Microsoft, and Microsoft is already giving this one. This is why these CLIs and everything are really become so powerful, because again popular because that documentation is already there. You just have to run through that document and you just have to use that once, because once you understand that okay, this is how you create the resource group, you are done. Okay, you will be able to do it. Now I'll go here and I will scroll down. So it is saying how we can, what is the resource group and everything, and it is already giving me a way of actually creating a resource group. This is just a small command, that's it. I just have to copy this command, and if I copy this, there is a tiny icon which allow me to copy it. I'll just copy it. Okay, I'll just make it bigger. I'll just copy it and I will just say okay, I want to really run. But now in case if you see, the command is really starting with Azure group create. Perfect. Now what happens whenever you go, whenever you want to run anything, any Azure command, first of all that command will start with AZ, and then there will be a combination of that command. So let me show you something. Say like in case if I am here, Okay, I have a Azure CLI, which is always important. I'm really creating a Azure CLI here, AZ. This is my AZ command, which I'm having. Okay. Now, with this AZ command, when I'm saying that, okay, this is my AZ command, what I have, this is AZ, the first command I'm going to run. The second thing is I want to mention the resource. And the third thing, I want to really mention something like a action. And in case if my action is something different, I have to also mention the resource name. Okay. This is all the combination. So from here, these are four things which I really want when I want to execute my Azure CLI. Okay. First is need the AZ. By default, everything should start with AZ and this should be small AZ. Okay. Everything should start with small AZ. Then the resource name. What all resources we have in the Azure, right? We have resource which is generally get called as a group. Okay, resource group we generally saying. Then we have virtual machine, VM. We have a storage account. We have seen ACR now. We have also seen web app. We will be, and what else we have seen, right? Database, right? In case if I want to really create a database. So these are some of the things which we have already seen how we can really create. So we have seen how to create a group, how to create a virtual machine, how to create a storage account, how to create a ACR, how to create a web application database. And inside SA also we have seen how to create a container, because that is also important to create a container inside the SA. So these are all what, these are all my resources which are really part of my Azure. Now, when I'm talking about these resources, I can also mention that what I want to do with this particular resource. So that will be the action. So action will be, first of all, I want to really list the resources. Just I want to see how many resources I have. I can say I want to create a resource. I want to edit the resource or update resource, whatever I really have, or I want to delete the resource. These are the four things which I really want to do. There is also something like a show. Now, why show? Because what will happen, say like in case if I want to view all the groups, okay, and so I want to see all the groups actually which are really available in my Azure, I can just mention AZ group list. So that will be my command. So in case if I want to run this in Azure CLI, I'll say AZ group list. This will give me all the, this will provide me all the things whatever I have. What is the output? It will going to provide me, it's going to provide me, 1 minute, I'll just make it a little bigger so you can see that. Okay, so it is going to provide all the group, okay, in Azure. If I just run this particular command, only this command, if I want to create something, then what I have to do, I have to say AZ group create. Now when I'm going to create anything, right, I need to provide some parameters. What is parameter? Parameter is nothing but the values which I want to really create, because when I'm creating that, right, if I go back to my my virtual my portal, if I click on home and if I go back to the resource group, okay, and I say create a resource group, perfect, I'm going to create here. Now here it is asking me some predefined configuration. It is asking me the subscription, it is asking me the resource group, and it is asking me the region to select, right? Okay, here it is asking me to first of all type the name of resource group, and it is giving me the list of all the resource list of locations which are already available. So I can select, and once I select, I can just simply say review and create, as simple as that. And I can also add a tag here, but I can simply click on review and create. That means it is asking me some inputs. Even though using a UI, it is asking me some inputs. Exactly same thing happens when you go with the Azure CLI. So it will ask you for the inputs, that okay, what input you want to really go with. So here, as an input, you need to provide some parameters, and the parameters name is something like first resource underscore group. It's the name of this group. Yeah, you can say equal to name, whatever the name you want to really put up. I'll say RG hyphen as AZ Azure CLI, something like the AZ hyphen, or maybe Azure CLI, something like this, right? Azure CLI. This is my resource group which I'm going to create using the. Then it is asking me location, hyphen. So if you see, hyphen hyphen is a way of providing the variable or sorry, the parameter. Okay, the way of providing this parameter is hyphen hyphen resource underscore resource hyphen group equal to this, and location is equal to this. Now you don't have to remember this, right? Because we are already getting this here. If I go back, it is already giving me this particular thing command which I can just copy paste, and I can just change what I want. Sorry. Yep. I can just change whatever I want. So it is saying demo resource group. Instead of this demo resource group, I'll just say RG Azure CLI. That's it. And location here, it is getting West US. Now, when you are really running the Azure CLI, they assume you should not really provide something like this, West US. They will not understand that. That's the only change from the actual portal, because here if I go back to the portal, is it automatically giving me the human readable form. But in the CLI, Azure CLI, you cannot really use that. You have to use a smaller and a lowercase values. That's the only thing which you need to really keep in mind. Other than that, everything is good. Oh, there is one more way. Like, this is the way you are really providing Azure group create hyphen hyphen name of whatever you are really going to create, location West US. If you want to really create anything, you can also put up, you can just run it. And here we are seeing that okay, we are providing a name, and then Azure CLI location is West US. That's it. I can just copy this entire command here, or a kind of like line, and I can paste as it is in my PowerShell. So here I'm just going to put up here, and I'm going to say, okay, run this command. And if you are able to run it, definitely it will go ahead and create it. But before creating this, okay, before creating this, we need to connect to Azure. Otherwise, it will fail. Let's see. In case if I run this, I'll just select and I'll just run it. It might ask me to log in, or let's see what is going to happen. So it is saying, hey, look, authentication is not available because I haven't really logged in using Azure CLI. I've logged in using the portal, but I haven't logged in using the Azure CLI. So if you remember yesterday, right, to fetch the ACR detail also, we have to log in. And what the command was? AZ login. And when we tried to log in that, it gave us a URL, and using that URL, we kind of like tried to log in. So here also, you have to really log in, and it is already giving you the option that you have to first use the login as you login, so you will be able to connect to that one. Perfect. Let's do AZ login here first. AZ login. The moment I say AZ login, it will open a new command. Can you see? It is automatically open the tab, and I just have to click here, and I'm because I have already logged in into this one in this particular window. It is automatically taking out the account name which I have, and it will, and that's how you should be really doing. So it can automatically understand that okay, I'm logged in here and I want to use the same credentials which I have already used. I'll just click here. Okay, and it says you logged in Azure. Very good. Let's go back. Yes, I can see that it's logged in, and I'm able to see everything here, right? So I've logged in using my Azure cloud. This is my subscription ID and everything, tenant ID, my email address, and everything is fine, and I'm logged in here. Okay, perfect. Now if I run this command, okay, now I run this command. Let's see what is going to happen. Okay, it says succeeded, and it created this Azure CLI. If I go back to my portal, if I refresh, right, I go to resource group. Now I don't see, I see a lot of things here. I will just click here, but I do not see the resource group yet. Why? Because this UI is very slow, as I mentioned, right? It's still not showing me. It's not still not showing me. It's still not, yeah, here now I can see. Now I can see there is a resource group which is already created in the West US, which we already have. So you can see this is how we will be able to really create. I can just click on this and I can see, yes, there is a resource group which is got created. Perfect. Now, once I have a resource group, now I want to create more resources. What resources? I'm going to create ACR. I'm going to enable that ACR with the command line, and I'm also going to create web applications. Okay, let's see how we can really do that. Perfect. So for that, we will go back again and I'll show you. I have already have a script, but I'm going to show you the way how you can really do it. But you are not going to do it only for one thing, right? If you want to create any resource, be it any resource, you can just simply search for this resource and you can really go ahead with that. So I'm going to show you as in Azure CLI. When you have, you can really go and you can type ACR, something like this. And there is also 1 minute. Or we will type Azure CLI. Okay, and here overview and finding CLI document, or maybe I'll just click here. Okay, so here everything is fine, everything is given here, and I'll just say A to that extensions. Where is that? Or samples tutorial. Okay, list area. Perfect. So here now you can see there are a bunch of things actually they have already provided, right? If you want to create load balancer, monitoring, traffic, virtual machine, virtual network, app services, all those things are really provided here. So I'll just click app services here. So you can see all the app services and everything details here, which is really provided. Okay, but without that one, I have already created a bunch of, I created a document actually. I'll just show you 1 minute where I have already written all the commands here. So let me show. Just a minute. Okay, so let me show you one by one command now. So say like we have already created the group here, right? The resource group which we have already created. Now in case if I rerun this particular command, if I just go ahead and rerun this command, it will not do anything. It will say it's already there, or it's kind of like, if you see the provisioning state succeeded, this time it will just give you all the information about that resource group. Okay, so it is not going to recreate anything here, or will not throw an error also saying that no, I'm not able to create anything. It says everything is fine, and it's automatically said succeeded and everything is fine. The thing is already got created. Now this will also be useful in case if your resource is not available, it is going to recreate that resource. And if your resource is already available, it is just kind of like skip that, will just show you the provisioning state. That's it. Perfect. Now in case if I want to create a username and a password, or something like, sorry, I want to create the ACR here. Okay, now when I want to really run the ACR, I want to run one command which can really give me some more detail about the actual ACR, because ACR is something which we are going to create. And if you remember, right, what we have done, we have created ACR. Okay, then we have created web application, and we have also kind of like used that particular thing. So let's try to create these two services, web application and ACR, using our command line interface. Okay, so I'm just going to copy the ACR thing here. Okay, and I'll paste it like this. Now if you see, let me close this so I can have multiple things here. I will just remove this, and I will, this is 1 minute. Perfect. Now let's try to understand how, what is really happening here. So the first thing is I am saying AZ, which is by default the command line. ACR is the Azure Container Registry, the one which we have tried to create. Create is the action, right? If you remember, create is the action. Go back. Create is the action. Now here we need to provide the resource group name. The first parameter is a resource group name. Now here I'm using some kind of a variable here. Now why I'm actually using a variable? Because I want to put this name, otherwise I will have to copy this name and paste it here. I want to really paste it like this. ACR username, whatever the, I can really put up something like this. I can go ahead and I can name it. Okay, so I can really put up a name here, which can be 1 minute. I can put up a wait a minute. Not this one. I will just remove this, and I will say something like ACR new Azure CLI, something like this. I'm just going to name this particular ACR with the Azure CLI name, whatever I have, and it should be in a small scale. Now SQU is standard, and if you remember, we have also enabled the true things. Now if I go back, let me show you how we have really created this particular piece. So if I go back to container registries, click on registries, I'll click create. What all option it is asking me? It is asking me, first of all, select the resource group. So select, in case if I go and select the Azure CLI here, put up a registry name, put up the location and the plan, right? These are some of the things which is really allowing. And it is also asking me some more details like networking and everything. But in Azure CLI, I do not need to really provide all the information. I can just simply say, okay, I want to create, this is the resource group, this is the name, and this is the scoop. That's it. And enable this admin true also here. Now this admin will only be enabled once I create it. Remember, right, once we create this, when we will manually go to the admin pack section and we enable that admin section. But here in the Azure CLI, it is giving me an option that if I say hyphen hyphen admin enable true, it is automatically going to create that one. That's a flexibility with the Azure CLI. Perfect. And then let's see, in case if I can create. So right now I do not have any any container registry here. I'll just open. I do not have any container registry here. Let's see in case if it can create just using by one line. That's it. Okay. I'll just run this line. To select, to run only a particular line, you just select it. If you run, click this, it will run everything. But if you want to really run only one line, you can just select that line and you can just say select this one, or you can I think select this one, run selection, right? You can just click on this run selection, and it will go ahead and run only this particular command in the below command prompt. Let's see. So far with me, guys, questions? Any question? Are you
What
able
is
to follow me?
SKU means?
Very good question. SKU means the SKU, which is generally referred with the kind of like a plan which we are really going to do. So if you see pricing plan here, right? The pricing plan is a SKU. So you can see all pricing plans sometimes calls SKU. Can you see this?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this
yes.
pricing plan is a SKU. So you can select the SKU. Now SKU is mostly refer with the type, right? Which type of a resource you want to create, and it's all up depend on say like in virtual machine also when you are going to create a type instance type, that time also it might ask you SKU. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so SKU is a normal terminology generally used for selecting the model, which model
Oh,
you want to really go. Perfect. Now
yeah.
I'll go
Okay.
back again. So you can see, right? I'm not able to see it. I'll just refresh it one more time. Yes, I'm able to see that it's already there. I'll just click here, and we can see that it's automatically taken or put up in this particular Azure CLI resource group, which are because we have added. And let's see whether it is automatically added the admin as a enabled. Yes, it's already enabled. If you remember, right, whenever we create manually, by default this won't get created, or by default it won't get automatically enabled. We are really enabling it during the execution. Perfect. So now I can really see this. Now I want to create. So my Azure is already created. Now I want to really create a application which I want to execute, web application. So for that web application, what I want to really do, I want to first of all create a plan. What plan? I want to create the application plan or application service plan. Why I had to really create that? And this is where you will be now getting more understanding. When you create a manually, or when you create it manually using your Azure portal, you tend to skip a lot of things, like pricing skew, for example, right? We really didn't focus much on the pricing skew when we are creating using a portal, but when you are executing that using Azure pipeline, you immediately caught, oh, there is something like a skew, there is something like a pricing model which we need to really provide. And this is where the minute details you will really get into when you are running a Azure CLI. Perfect. Let's go back to the registry or home, and I'm going to go to my web application app service, and I'm going giving you a difference, right? How you do it in the portal, how you do it in the your normal thing. So I have this ACR demo yesterday we have created, right? Let me delete this. I don't really need this. Mm, I'll just go ahead and delete. Mm, I'll just select and just put it here and set delete. Okay. So meanwhile, if I'll go back, I'll say web application, and web application. When I'm saying this, I will select the resource group, right, by default, and I'll have to select the resource group, saying that okay, Azure CLI is a resource group. I have to provide a name which should be unique. I have to provide what kind of a thing which I'm really wanted to go with, and here this is the plan which I need to really select. Now, generally, what happens if you see the flow? The flow is always that when you are really creating a Azure plan web application, and this is where we will be really going. Okay. The flow will always be like this. You are going to create first ACR. Why ACR? Because you want to attach this ACR with the web application. Now, web application, what we are going to do here is that you will be creating something like a plan first, okay, and then you are going to create something like a web application. Okay. Now, why you need ACR? Because you are going to deploy your images from this ACR, right? That's where you need to really connect this ACR with this web application. Very important. But to create this web application, this needs to be part of some plan where this will really run. So that's why you need this one. These are two dependencies which we are going to. You can create ACR later also. It's not like you have to create a ACR in the first place itself, but you can really create that later also. That's fine. You can have the ACR here, which is a part of your plan. Once you have this particular plan, you can really attach that to web application. Now this information, what kind of information we want here? We want a information of your credentials, ACR credentials. What are those credentials? First of all, I need ACR URL. Okay, so I can, my web application can connect to that ACR. Second thing, it needs username. Third thing is need password. Without that, it will not kind of like create it. I will show you in a normal way, and then we will see how things really work out here. Perfect. So if I go back, let me create one sample web application. We already have created one web application, and I'm going to select this one. Okay. Uh, okay. Let's see. So I have one application here. I'm going to mention that. Okay, this is the web application or sample web app, and I'm going to select the Docker container here. I'm going to select the plan, new plan, which is going to create free plan. It's fine, no problem. Database, I'm not going to create any database. Here, when I click on Docker, I'm going to select Azure Container Registry. There is already a Azure Container Registry which is already there. There is no image here because I haven't really added any image. So once I add this image, then definitely I'll be able to put up anything. Right now I don't have, but okay, I think it will required. We will have to push one image here, then only we will be able to upload. Let's see. Okay, no worries. How can we really do this? Let's see. So there is a problem with this one, right? Because we haven't really added in this one, but generally what happens whenever you create an image. Okay, I just deleted that right before that, otherwise I should have this one. Let me do one thing. um, mm, okay, I'll show you once we create this, and I'll show you in a manual way when we will be having the actual application. Perfect. So the the thing what happens, I'll just explain you in this UI so you can understand that. So we once you create this configuration, these three things which get attached to your application configuration, these things will get attached to your application configuration, app config. If you do not have this in your app config, your application will not be able to communicate with ACR and will not be able to pull the images whatever is available here. So you have to provide this one. Perfect. That is important. So how can we really do that in a normal way? For that one, you need to really first of all call out, and you have to pick up two things out of your ACR. So first thing is you need to really pick up the the username and a password, and then that username and a password you need to update in your app config. Perfect. Now this is little kind of like again a detailed one, but once you try this, you will be really able to understand. Perfect. Now let's go back, and I'm giving you a very simple way of doing things. Let's do, and then we will get into a more complex way of maintaining this one. Perfect, no problem. Let's first of all do the plan creation. So once we are done with the ACR, I'm just going to say AZ app service. This is the service which we have, and here once I mentioned, right, you can also have some sub services. Like for example, here if I go back, I've said that you are really going to run it like something like this group, and then you can create. But in case if you have a service which is having more and more detailed understanding, like for example, group is just one thing, you cannot really create a sub service in that one. But in the app service, like here you have an app service, like I'm just saying app service, but there could be a sub resource actually which are part of that app service. That means inside a app service I can also create a plan, or I can kind of like use something like that app service. I can create an app service, I can create another one. So in case if you have there, you can also have a sub service here or sub resource here. It's part of your resource itself. So on a border side, it will be resource. Like example, essay. So you will be having essay. Under that essay, you will be creating container. So you will be putting container here. So your command will be az essay container and then create list or whatever you have. One kind of like step which is added here. Perfect. Let's go back. Let's try to run app service plan. This is a sub service, and then the action create. Now here when I talk to put up here, again I'll have to provide resource group. Okay, resource hyphen group equal to group, and I can just copy paste here, right? I can, if I want, I can just copy here because I want to really use it and paste it here. That's the beauty of command line also, right? You can just copy paste, and that's the main thing, main advantage of using. You don't have to type everything. Now the second thing is, because app service will also need anything, it is also needing a plan. So I'll just copy here, paste it here, and I'll just make a change here saying that app service plan, or a new AZ CLI web service or web app plan, something like this. I'm just putting it something like this so I can really make it like AZ CLI web app RK, and I'm just making a plan here. This is the name actually which I'm really going to provide. Now what is the next step? The next step is again a SKU. Okay, so I'll copy this SKU because this also requires a plan details. So I'm just going now here. S standard is not the way. There is a way you can really put up F1 or S1. These are the parameters actually which you can really add up. I will just say F1. F1 means free. So if you go back, when I selected the plan, right? When I selected the plan, in case if I go back here, if I click web app, okay, and then when I selected this particular Azure CLI app name, I just put up anything. Here, if you see, right, it is automatically selecting F free F1. Can you see free F1? If I select something else, I can go with basic B1. So you just have to update this B1 plan. That's it. You just have to use this B1 or F1 or S1. There are a lot of plans actually which are really available, right? Here you can say P2 V3. Here you can say P3 V3. You can say P2. So you have a lot of plans, and actually the plan details or a name up to of that particular plan is very minimal because you can select that one. So let me show you some more view. Okay, you can see free F1, I know basic B1, you can say B2, B3, you can say all these plans, whatever we have, like here, standard S1. So you don't have to use the complete plan name here. You can just select only S1. That's it. It should be good. Okay, so while creating Azure CLI, you can just name that one. So I'm going to name it as F1. That's it. F capital and 1. Perfect. Now I will just run this one. The moment I run, it will create a plan. Perfect. Currently, if I go back to app services and if I search for app service plan, okay, you have this app services plan, which is definitely an apart. You will not see, but it's already there. Currently, I do not have any plan. In case if I want to create a plan, again I will go ahead and select the same thing, whatever I'm selecting right now. So what is it required? It required the plan, it required the Linux and everything, region, and again the plan name, everything, whatever I really want to do, and just review and create. Currently, I'm just providing this exactly information. AZ service app service plan, create resource group name, Azure CLI, whatever you have, the name of that plan and the name. And I'm going to select this command and I'll just run it. If I refresh, it will not immediately come. Can you see? Even though it will say here it is created, but after that creation also, it will take little time to show me here. Done. Okay, it's created, right? Now if I go back, I'll just refresh. Still it's not going up. It will take time. Now it is coming up. Okay, so if I go back now, I can see the exact thing: Azure CLI web app RK plan. Okay, it's West US. Windows automatically pick up because I haven't really mentioned any operating system. That's why it pick up Windows by default. F1 free, resource group, whatever I have, it's automatically create. So if I go to resource group, I can see all the resources which got created under this resource group, right? Under overview, I can see all the resources which are there. So I have created Azure CLI, sorry, Azure ACR, and then the plan which we have. Now the third step is to create a app service, the actual app service. How to really create that? So to create that, I need to say AZ web app, because we are going to create a web app here. I'll say create. Okay, and then again I need to provide the resource group name here. I'll copy this resource group name and put it here. And then again it is asking me name, so I'll copy this name, I'll put it here. And this time I'm going to remove this plan because I want to keep only this name, web app RK, and this was a plan name, this is my application name, which is fine. Now I need to really provide the plan detail here. Hyphen plan. What is the plan name? This was the name which I have really provided to the plan. So I'll copy this and I will put it here. Perfect. And then it is also asking me what you want to really deploy. So there is a option which says you want to deploy with what. I want to deploy it with the container image. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to mention that, hey, create, and there's a option that hyphen deployment container hyphen image hyphen name is app colon latest. This is the image which is going to take out, and this is the variable which I'm going to add up, because I'm going to select by this option. It automatically create a sample Docker image and will automatically add into my web application. Perfect. So what I've did, az web app create resource group name, this is the name, plan, this is the plan, and this is the deployment container, and everything is fine. Now there's one thing here, because where I'm really running it, okay, I just make it bigger so you can really see that when I'm running it, I'm repeating multiple things here. First of all, I'm repeating, as you see this resource group name. Okay, I've seen 1 2 3 4 places actually I have put up the Azure CLI. Now in case if I want to change this, because I'm creating a script, I say like if I copy this, I copy it, and again I want to create something new. Okay, now I want to run exactly 4 commands, all these 4 commands. Okay, all these 4 commands, I'll just make it space here, all these 4 commands with the different resource group name. Okay, I want to change the resource group name here from say like rg azure to something like as ag rg cli demo. This is something like this, I want to really change it. Now what I want to change, I want to change this and this, both the all the places. Similarly, I want to change the name of this one. I don't want to really change. So I can change this, but this is fine. I can really change this one. But in case if I copy paste it, because most of the time copy pasting will also have a problem. So you have copy pasted this one. You forget to copy this one like this way. You just copy this and you put up a plan name here. Perfect. Now what happened? N is missing here. This guy will fail because N is missing here. So what is the best way? The best way is to parameterize all these things and sorry, make it variable driven. So how to make it variable driven? So first of all, we will really delete all these things and I'm going to create variables. So to create a variable, as I mentioned, right, I've showed you one sample of variable. We can create some variables, and this is again a very beauty and advantage of using scripting or a PowerShell script. For example, Python is also a very good command line scripting tool, but for Windows, PowerShell is also very good. So how we can really mention this? I want to really use a flexibility wherein I can update at one place and it will automatically get at every place. How can I do that? I just mention here something like rg underscore name. I can just mention here, sorry, name equal to, and then I'm going to copy this whatever I have and I'll put up in a double quote. But with this variable, I just have to add one more thing to make it differentiate between whatever I'm really using. So how can I know that this is my variable? So if I put up a rg name here, rg underscore name, how can I understand that this is a variable? This is not a name, because it might create using this rg underscore name. So for that, the differentiation is just a dollar. If you put up a dollar in before the name, it will automatically become the variable, and then you can put up a value for that. Okay, so I'll copy this now, or I will just add a variable here or a dollar here. That's it. Now it become a variable. So now if I run this, Okay, if I run this particular thing, and if I run this, it will automatically take out this value. And we have seen that in the last demo, but I'm going to show you something one more time here. So let's see, in case if I run it, I'll just say here clear, and I will first run this command. So to put it in my memory, in my program's memory, that hey, there is a resource group, a variable, and for that variable the value is this one. So next time if I'm running this variable, it should automatically take that value. Let's see, in case if I run this now, here it is showing me the variable name here, but actually it will run in the this particular thing. Let's see. Yes, it automatically take out this one, right? Why? Because I have added this variable name. Exactly same thing we can follow for others. So now I don't need to really run it like this. I'll just copy this and I will change everywhere wherever I have a resource group name or I want to refer resource group name. Perfect. So now I can see resource group, resource group, everything is fine. Now what is the next thing? The next thing is this location. I can also create a location. I can change this and I can say dollar, and because I want to make it differentiator, I can really use something like a this underscore value, so it can really be there and maybe in the uppercase. So every resource, everything will be in uppercase, which can differentiate saying that this is my variable. So I can say location equal to, and then I'm going to say west us. In case currently I'm using only one time this west us, I'm going to use one time, but parameterize or variable, make it variable driven for everything whatever is possible. Everything, wherever you feel that you want to really make it like variable driven, that's fine. You can just copy paste here. Now here what else we have this name, acr name. Perfect, I'm going to paste it here and I'm going to say dollar acr underscore name equal to, and this is the name which I want to put up. Perfect. Now I'll copy this and I will change it here. Where is my ACR name? ACR. This is the name I've just put up here. I can even make it this also. I can just control C or maybe control C here. I'll just make it here. Select dollar ACR underscore SKU. Sorry. Dollar ACR underscore SKU equal to double colon this one. Now, accidentally, I have also pasted something here. So, in case if I put up hash here, whatever I am writing here, this will not be considered or this will not get executed. So, in case if I want to say, hey, I want to really map it, and this is a commenting, right? Whenever you are creating anything, this is a commenting. Why to use this? Say, like, in case if I want, because I'm giving you this script, you want to understand what this particular thing is doing, what this particular thing is doing, what this particular thing is doing. You can really simply mention hash and you can say creating resource group. Okay, this is a way of commenting things. You can just copy again, you can go next line, you can mention here creating acr. Okay, now you can copy this, you can paste it here, something like creating service plan, app service plan. Okay, and then here you can also say create web app. Now why we are really putting up all this commenting here or comments here? Because say like your code is becoming so big. Okay, say like you have a lot of code which is and this is how the things really work out in the coding, right? You have become say like in a 100 lines code. Now you have to go to each and every line and find out, hey, what is exactly, where exactly my thing is, right? But there's a lot of coding which I'm doing right now. So how can I really search it? So the best way to search it is using this particular command. So if I just go simple, because here might be app service, you might be not be able to do it, right? I want to see the plan. Here you can search it using a plan, but you might say something a different thing, right? I can create multiple plans here. I can create one plan here for dev, one plan for production. I can just create something like this, and I can say app service plan for prod, PROD. Okay, now I can differentiate saying that okay, this is what I can find out. In case if I want to find, I can just say prod and I can then find out whatever I have. So I can exactly go to that particular line and I can understand, oh okay, by the way, here I am really doing that. So that's why you need to really provide the commenting. Commenting is very, very important. It's a very best standard for writing anything. Even you write a program, full-fledged program or a small script, put up a commenting here, no problem. So I will just, okay, I'm just going to delete this, not to confuse you guys for now, but I'll just give you a way to actually comment and everything. Okay, perfect. Now we have really put up this one. I'm going to change this again, ACR school, and I'm going to mention something like this dollar. Here also I can change this one. I can copy this. I can make it a plan dollar ACR, or maybe not, app service and underscore plan equal to, and then I'm going to copy this. We'll paste it here. Where is that app service plan name? Here. And now I can use the same plan name and I can actually put up here. Right now I don't have to put up two different things. I can just simply, so it will automatically take out whatever the plan which I have mentioned here. Same thing I'm going to use here, and I'm going to say app service name. The good part is you can also mention something like this, like a dollar app service, okay, and then equal to this one, something like this. Now I can parameterize this one. So in case if I know that there is only a plan which is really added, I can also mention it like this. I can only say app service, okay, here in double code. I can just mention something like this, but now we are not going to do, and I can just simply add a plan here. I can just say plan. Now what is going to happen is, till this point, it is going to take out this name, and then it is going to just add a normal plan here. Okay, you can also provide that into something like this. This is also a way actually you can really provide whenever you want to combine this particular things, right? So now it is going to combine this one hyphen plan, so this will become one string. But don't get confused with this one. We'll see that as we move on. Okay, I'm going to keep app service plan separate, and I'm going to keep app service name separate, which is okay. And again here I can really copy this. I can put up again plan name and everything here, but which is fine. So here also I'm going to change this and copy and paste here. Perfect. Can you see now what we have done? We have we have actually provided everything as a variable here, and we have created a variable section here. I can just mention here as a hash variables, and this is my actual code, or steps, something like this. Okay, and now I'm just removing all the backspaces which is not required. Now this is the only 4 line of code, or kind of like 16 line of code, not even a 16 lines, right? How much lines I have? Only 12 lines of code. And using this 12 lines of code, I'm able to create the group, I'm able to create ACR, I'm able to create app service plan, and I'm able to attach my web app. I'm able to create a web app and attach that to the service plan which I have created. Now if I run this entire piece one go, okay, let me clear this, and I'll just run entire thing here. Let's see what is going to happen. So first it will run the Azure group create. It is already there, succeeded. Second, it will run the ACR, which is already available, should be succeeded, or should be good. Perfect. Then third, it is going to run the app service plan create, which is already there. Okay. Now fourth thing is it is going to create a web app. Okay. I think this is done. So let's go back. Let's go back, I guess, to our portal, and let's see what all things we have. So if I just refresh into my Azure CLI, okay, let me go back to the web apps. So it says that reducted. Okay. So it says the Linux FX version is failed. Okay. No worries. I think we need to really provide this one as I think the parameter Linux FS version has invalid value because it's just trying to create on the container thing. That's why we are actually going to create. No problem. Let's remove this one. Let's see in case if we can just run it simply. Okay. And I'm going to run this. No, it's already there. I think that's what it is saying. Let me go back. It's already created, I believe. Yeah, it's already created, right? But there was some problem, but not a problem. So you can see that using just the four commands, I was able to really execute everything. And if I share these commands with you, right, it is very simple for me to just say, hey, just run this thing, change all these variables, and run it based on whatever you really want, and you should be able to do it. As simple as that. Okay, so this way is the way we are going forward. We will be really executing, and everything whatever we are going to do from now onwards, we will be trying to do how we can do it using the command line interface and more towards this one. Any questions, guys, before we wrap up? Any questions, guys? Nothing. Okay, no worries. That's it for today then. Thank you very much, and we'll connect tomorrow to get the further details. Please practice this one, guys. I think you are really lacking behind from the practice perspective. I'm not really seeing a very, sorry to say, but I'm not really getting that kind of a info from you guys. You're just listening, but you're not trying anything. Please try. It's very important. Otherwise, things will not really move on. So tomorrow, I want to see someone of you, to show me something what you have really done, and we'll take it from there. Perfect. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.